Hey everyone, welcome! Today we're gonna dive into the amazing story of Vietnam. It's a country with a super interesting history and people who never give up. We'll travel through time from its early days as small villages to its rise as a powerful nation in Southeast Asia. Vietnam has faced tons of challenges like invasions, wars, and tough economic times. But through it all, its people have always bounced back, ready to build a better future. Get ready to explore the big moments that shaped Vietnam, from ancient times to its modern success story. We'll see how brave and adaptable the Vietnamese people are, and how they've created such a unique culture. Let's go way back in time to the Red River Delta, where Vietnam's story begins. Around 5000 BC, the first settlements popped up. These early communities farmed and fished, building the foundation for Vietnamese civilization. A super important group called the Dong Son culture thrived from 700 BC to 100 AD. They were awesome metal workers, especially known for their cool bronze drums. They were also great farmers and had smart ways of organizing their society. The Dong Son people left a huge mark on Vietnamese culture, shaping how people lived and how their government worked. This era saw small villages grow into bigger communities, and a unique Vietnamese language and culture started to form. This set the stage for powerful empires to come. A powerful Chinese empire grew to the north, expanding its influence and territory. The Han dynasty, in particular, was known for its military prowess and cultural advancements. This expansion wasn't just about land, it was about spreading their way of life, their governance, and their ideologies. And that changed things big time for Vietnam. The Vietnamese people, with their own rich history and culture, suddenly found themselves under the shadow of this vast empire. The landscape of Vietnam, with its lush forests and fertile lands, became a battleground for control and influence. For over 1,000 years, starting in 111 BC, Vietnam lived under Chinese rule. This period was marked by numerous attempts by the Chinese to assimilate the Vietnamese people, imposing their administrative systems, language, and cultural practices. The Han dynasty's rule was particularly significant, as it laid the foundation for many of the changes that would follow. There was some good stuff, like learning about Confucianism and Buddhism from China. These philosophies and religions brought new ways of thinking and living, influencing Vietnamese society deeply. Confucianism, with its emphasis on hierarchy and order, found a place in Vietnamese governance, while Buddhism offered spiritual solace and a new perspective on life and suffering. But there was also a lot of fighting. The Vietnamese people, proud of their heritage and autonomy, resisted Chinese domination fiercely. Battles were fought, rebellions were sparked, and countless lives were lost in the struggle for freedom. The landscape of Vietnam is dotted with sites of ancient conflicts, each telling a story of bravery and resistance. The Vietnamese people really wanted to be independent. Their desire for self-rule and cultural preservation fueled their resistance. Villages became centers of rebellion where strategies were planned and warriors were trained. The spirit of independence was alive in every heart, passed down through generations. Brave leaders and warriors stood up against the Chinese, fighting to protect their culture and freedom. These leaders, often coming from humble backgrounds, rose to prominence through their courage and determination. They became symbols of resistance, inspiring others to join the fight and keep the flame of independence burning. Have you heard of the Trung sisters? They are among the most celebrated figures in Vietnamese history. They were two amazing women warriors who led a rebellion against China in 40 AD. Their story is one of incredible bravery and leadership. The Trung sisters, Trung Trak and Trung Ni, managed to rally an army and achieve significant victories against the Chinese forces. Their rebellion, though eventually suppressed, left an indelible mark on Vietnamese history. They're heroes in Vietnam, and they inspired many others to fight for freedom. Their legacy is celebrated in festivals, monuments, and stories passed down through generations. The Trung sisters symbolize the enduring spirit of resistance and the unyielding desire for independence that characterizes the Vietnamese people. Even with China in charge, Vietnam never lost its spirit. The Vietnamese people continued to practice their traditions, celebrate their festivals, and honor their ancestors. This cultural resilience helped preserve their identity through centuries of foreign rule. These years of struggle shaped the Vietnamese people and helped them become a strong, independent nation. The lessons learned and the sacrifices made during this period laid the groundwork for future generations. Today, Vietnam stands as a testament to the resilience and determination of its people, a nation forged in the fires of resistance and tempered by the enduring spirit of its ancestors. Section 4. Building a Nation, the Rise of Vietnamese Dynasties. The 10th century was a huge moment for Vietnam. It marked the beginning of a new era, one that would see the country transform from a collection of small, fragmented communities into a unified and powerful nation. This period was characterized by significant social, political, and cultural changes that laid the foundation for modern Vietnam. After 1,000 years of fighting, they finally broke free from China in 938 AD, thanks to a leader named Ngo Quyen. Ngo Quyen's victory at the Battle of Bac Dang River was a turning point in Vietnamese history. His strategic brilliance and leadership not only secured Vietnam's independence but also inspired future generations to defend their homeland against foreign invaders. This started a time of peace and growth. The newfound independence allowed the Vietnamese people to focus on developing their own culture, economy, and society. Agriculture flourished, and traditional markets became bustling centers of trade and commerce. The countryside, with its serene landscapes and hard-working farmers, became the backbone of the nation's prosperity. New Vietnamese dynasties, or ruling families, came to power. These dynasties played a crucial role in shaping the nation's identity and governance. Each ruling family brought its own unique contributions to the development of Vietnam, ensuring the continuity of its rich cultural heritage and traditions. Each one helped make Vietnam stronger, bigger, and more culturally rich. The expansion of territories under various dynasties not only increased the nation's geographical size, but also its influence in the region. Cultural artifacts from this period reflect the diverse and vibrant history of Vietnam, showcasing the artistic and intellectual achievements of its people. The Lai dynasty, 1009 to 1225, created a strong central government, spread Confucian ideas, and established the Temple of Literature in Hanoi, which became a symbol of Vietnam's commitment to education and intellectual growth. The Lai dynasty's emphasis on Confucian principles helped to create a more organized and efficient administration, laying the groundwork for future dynasties to build upon, and helped the economy and arts thrive. The Lai dynasty's support for the arts led to a flourishing of traditional crafts, including pottery, painting, and sculpture. This period saw the creation of many beautiful and intricate works of art that continue to be admired and studied today. The Tran dynasty, 1225 to 1400, kept expanding the country and making its culture even richer. The Tran rulers were known for their military prowess and strategic acumen, which allowed them to defend the nation against external threats, while also promoting internal stability and growth. Their reign saw the construction of impressive monuments and the development of a more sophisticated and diverse cultural landscape, and making its culture even richer. Traditional festivals and literary works from the Tran dynasty period reflect the deep cultural roots and vibrant traditions of the Vietnamese people. These cultural relics provide valuable insights into the lives, beliefs, and values of the people during this time. They even fought off the Mongols. The Tran dynasty's successful defense against the Mongol invasions in the 13th century is a testament to their resilience and strategic brilliance. These victories not only preserved Vietnam's independence, but also solidified the Tran dynasty's legacy as one of the most formidable and respected periods in Vietnamese history. These dynasties were a golden age for Vietnam. The architectural achievements of this period, including the construction of grand palaces and temples, reflect the prosperity and cultural richness of the time. This golden age was marked by significant advancements in various fields, including literature, science, and technology. They built a strong, independent nation, with well-fortified cities and a robust system of governance. The legacy of these dynasties can be seen in the enduring strength and resilience of the Vietnamese people, who have continued to build upon the foundations laid by their ancestors, and their influence is still felt today. Modern Vietnam continues to honor and preserve its historical heritage, with many ancient sites and traditions still playing a vital role in the nation's cultural identity. The rise of Vietnamese dynasties is a testament to the enduring spirit and resilience of the Vietnamese people, whose rich history continues to inspire and shape the future. Section 5. A Land Divided. The North-South Schism. Even after all that success, Vietnam faced a new problem in the 16th century: internal conflict. This period marked a significant turning point in the nation's history, as the unity that had been painstakingly built over centuries began to unravel. The seeds of discord were sown, leading to a prolonged period of strife and division that would shape the future of Vietnam in profound ways. The country split into two rival areas, the north, ruled by the Trinh lords, and the south, ruled by the Nguyen lords. This division was not just a simple geographical split but a deep-seated political and cultural rift. The Trinh lords, who controlled the north, were known for their strict adherence to Confucian principles and their close ties to the Chinese imperial court. On the other hand, the Nguyen lords in the south were more open to foreign influences and trade, which led to a more diverse and cosmopolitan society. This division caused a lot of fighting and instability. The Trinh-Nguyen War, which lasted for over 4 decades, was a brutal and devastating conflict that drained the resources of both sides and left the country in a state of perpetual turmoil. The constant warfare disrupted daily life, destroyed infrastructure, and caused widespread suffering among the population. The Trinh and Nguyen lords battled each other, making Vietnam weaker. The relentless conflict not only weakened the military and economic strength of both regions, but also eroded the social fabric of the nation. Families were torn apart, communities were displaced, and the once thriving cultural and intellectual life of Vietnam was severely disrupted. The North and South also became quite different. Over time, the cultural, social, and economic differences between the two regions became more pronounced. The North, with its rigid social hierarchy and emphasis on Confucian values, developed a more conservative and inward-looking society. In contrast, the South, with its bustling ports and diverse population, became a melting pot of different cultures and ideas. The North, influenced by China, had a stricter government. The Trinh lords implemented a highly centralized and bureaucratic system of governance, modeled closely on the Chinese imperial system. This led to a society that was highly stratified, with a clear distinction between the ruling elite and the common people. The influence of Chinese culture was evident in the architecture, literature, and daily life of the northern region. The South, with lots of different people and traders from other countries, was more open and diverse. The Nguyen lords encouraged trade and interaction with foreign merchants, which brought new ideas, technologies, and cultural practices to the region. This openness to external influences fostered a more dynamic and flexible society, where different cultures coexisted and interacted. This North-South divide would shape Vietnam for centuries, and even played a part in the country's division in the 20th century. The legacy of the Trinh-Nguyen conflict can be seen in the continued regional differences and rivalries that persisted into the modern era. The division between North and South Vietnam during the Vietnam War in the 20th century can be traced back to these historical roots, highlighting the long-lasting impact of this period of internal conflict. It's a really important part of understanding Vietnam's complicated history. The North-South schism is not just a chapter in the past, but a key to understanding the complexities and nuances of Vietnam's cultural and political landscape. By studying this period, we gain insights into the forces that have shaped the nation's identity and the challenges it has faced in its journey towards unity and stability.